Solo Sikoa's babyface character is really starting to take off. He had me laughing on Raw. I don't laugh unless it's by accident. It's not a segment that's supposed to be laughed at. And while the crowd didn't initially really take to Solo Sikoa on Raw, he had me going. And it feels as if he's just so much more relaxed. He's having so much more fun. He's just almost being himself, whereas he's played this serious character for so many years now with the Bloodline, then the MFTs, and then he's been kind of on his own, and then now he's going through this transition, and it's really a lot of fun. Now, there is some confusion here because I don't know how we're supposed to really feel about anybody beyond Solo, which we know is in transition, and the fans are, I think, getting a little bit, they're a little bit hesitant to fully absorb him and adopt him as a babyface because he's just been a heel for so long. So it's taking a little bit of an adjustment period, but it's happening fairly quickly. But with the rest of the Bloodline, Jimmy, Jey, Roman even, how are we supposed to feel? I don't know how we're supposed to feel from 1 minute to the next. There's no clear path for any of these men, including Roman, who is once again absent from Raw here. And I think overall hurts the show when not just Roman, but just star power in general is lacking from the show. Even if it is booked coherently, it does hurt the show when you don't have big star power. As I've mentioned for weeks and weeks and months and years, is the great deodorizer for bad stories. And not that it cures all problems, but it can help with how you perceive the product. It draws people in. And without them, even with a good, coherent story being told on Raw, it's still a net negative that you don't have big stars on the show. Not to say we didn't have some people on the show that you could deem as today's bigger stars, but those needle-moving stars like Roman Reigns was not on the show. Obviously, Brock Lesnar is now gone, but you did get Oba Femi and Bron Breakker, and we'll go through that also in just a minute. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, oh my God, I've already heard so many ads, how do I get rid of them? Patreon.com/WWE podcast or Apple Podcasts does have a subscribe button, and you can subscribe to us ad-free right through Apple if you choose to do that instead of going through the separate Patreon app. Okay, well, let's dive into Monday Night Raw, and it came to us from, where was it? Oh, that's right, the Scope. Wasn't that the same place that the great invasion, the famous invasion from DX to WCW happened? I think it was. If I'm not mistaken, I'm very, very sure on that, actually, that the Scope, for some reason, I remember being the place where the WCW invasion happened during the height of the Monday Night Wars. Anyway, beside the point. So this show opened with Michael Cole, and he said it was the first time in over 3 years that the Scope was playing host to Raw. And we had Solo interrupt the broadcast team. He was delivering a mocking impersonation of the Usos, which was really funny. You would think he was making fun of their entrance music. It's just good stuff. It's just gold right now from him. He's kind of taken away from Danhausen, and we'll get to him in a minute. The Danhausen experiment could be just about over. It's getting close, and so we'll talk about that. But Solo is doing some funny mocking, and Jey Uso's entrance theme then played. He heads to the ring. So Solo took Jay's jabs at Jey and then said he's not coming back to the family. He said everybody in Virginia loves where he's at, and it's kind of true. The fans cheered and started chanting Solo's name. Again, originally, when he first was shown in the crowd, there wasn't a really warm, loving reception for Solo. It didn't last long, though. The kind of jeers didn't last long. And then Solo said he had a message for Roman Reigns. Jey cut him off, told him to shut his cocky, spoiled, disrespectful ass up. And Jey said Solo was there because of the family. He said he would take care of Solo tonight and challenged him to a match, but when he wins, Solo has to return to the Bloodline. Jey delivered his warning shot, and we had Solo accept the match and said when he beats Jey, he and the messed up family can leave him the hell alone. And then he said that he's got his own warning shot. Pew. That's the part that made me laugh. I mean, beyond him mocking Jey's music, it just was great. I laughed at that. So this is just such a more fun Solo Sikoa. He's just been reimagined, reborn. I don't know, whatever you want to say. And I really am loving what I'm seeing so far. So the analysis here from one of the websites I'm reading from, it says that the fans are having fun with Solo's new babyface persona. I get a kick out of it, but I hope he can flip the switch from the comedic approach to being more serious when the situation calls for it. That's a fair point, because while we've seen the serious Solo Sikoa for, I don't know, the better part of like 5 years now, the comedic side is what draws you back in. It creates a renewed interest in Solo. But when things get real and the chips are down, yes, we do want to see Solo get serious when need be. That's fair. Okay. We then had the broadcast team speak about the number one contenders tournament for a shot at Roman Reigns in the World Heavyweight Championship on September 14th. That Raw in Mexico City. And then we had a promo feature the Penta and Laredo Kid match. And Penta said Kid is an old rival, and Kid spoke briefly, and Penta said he would win the tournament and face Reigns with all of Mexico behind him. That should be interesting if that happens on Raw in Mexico City. There's this really weird kind of crossover happening with AAA and Rey Mysterio being the GM, and we'll talk about that segment too. They're using Roman Reigns to add some credibility to this, really not credibility, but more eyeballs. Roman Reigns is arguably WWE's most active, biggest star that they have. So they're going to try to use him to get more eyeballs on a product that most wrestling fans, not all, but most of us, let's be honest, are not watching AAA. Most of us, just to be frank, don't give a shit about AAA. We just don't. Not that we hope or wish ill will on AAA. I know WWE has acquired them, but not that we wish that anyone doesn't have a place to work or luchador wrestling goes away. No. It's just that we just don't care because we don't have time. Most of us only have time for the main product, Raw and SmackDown. Some of us only watch the highlights on YouTube for some of the shows, much less watch all of the main shows, much less watch NXT or Evolve or any of the other programming things that WWE puts out, like Unreal and all the other documentaries that it's overload on top of WWE Radio now and all the podcasts that are put out by everybody. Stephanie McMahon. I mean, the list goes on. It's an incredible amount of content. And then they're expecting us to also try to watch AAA. It's not going to happen for most of us. I don't think this is going to really do anything for AAA. And again, I wish them well. I wish nothing but success for AAA. But the fact is, the truth is, they are a distant fourth, fifth in line in terms of competition, or not competition, but viewership. I mean, I really don't think anybody's going to be watching AAA even after Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio, whatever. Like, it's not going to do anything. I know they're trying, and I don't fault TKO for that. They have to make the most out of the asset they acquired. But there's a real push now, and there will be a continued push on Raw up until the AAA event. And now there's going to be a championship match on September 14th in Mexico City which you can only foresee Roman Reigns getting booed, especially if it's a luchador. That a popular one like Penta or Rey Mysterio ends up facing, and it has to be a luchador, facing Roman Reigns on September 14th. Roman Reigns is going to be the heel in that match. And I wonder if we're slowly going back to the heel Roman. There's been definite evidence for that over the last several months. Okay, but the first, in the first round tournament match for a shot at the World Championship, Penta versus Laredo Kid. The match went 10 minutes with Penta winning after hitting the Mexican Destroyer and got the victory. And he advances to the semifinals. So there's already a semifinals after winning the first match, but nonetheless, the updated brackets showed that the winner of Psycho Clown versus La Parka will face Penta in the semifinals. And good. I mean, this match was good. You know what you're going to get from the luchador style. You're going to get fast-paced, exciting, very fireworksy. And I mean that just in that it's a lot of action, almost hard to absorb type of pace for luchador wrestling. And they're very, very skilled, but it keeps your attention because it's so fast-paced. I don't know if there's any emotional connection going on from fans in any of these matches, but you certainly have that surface level ooh and ah type of reaction when you see some of these moves that the wrestlers are performing, which are just incredible, and respect to everybody involved here. But I don't think there's any true connection here happening between the fans and any of these newer wrestlers. Again, maybe not Penta because he's been more of a mainstay on the roster, but Laredo Kid, Psycho Clown. Why don't you poll the people in attendance? How many people, if this was a truthful survey, in attendance, out of the 9,000 people in attendance, actually have heard of either of those men? I bet you it'd be under 10%. All right. So we have then some interview with Austin Theory. I'll skip that for now because it really didn't have any, I guess, really carry any weight for the rest of the show. But Breaker asked Saxton what he thought of Oba Femi. Saxton said he likes him, and Breaker asked if Saxton thinks Oba Femi is the future. And he said that's what Brock Lesnar said. And Breaker told Saxton that he sounded like Paul Heyman and then walked away because Paul Heyman really didn't answer that question. Okay, Austin Theory takes on Akira Tozawa. And this match was only 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Austin Theory wins, as he should. And they had him hit the off switch, which is really just a forearm strike. And he got the victory. And Rene Dupree. My God, how far back am I going? We had Maxine Dupree then come in the ring. And Theory attacks Tozawa after she seemingly, I don't know, says some magical incantation words to him, and he just goes crazy on Tozawa. And we had Adam Pearce arrive before Theory could use a chair that he was going to, I don't know, assumingly try to break the neck or something of Tozawa. And Braun Breaker comes in and set up to spear Tozawa, but he stopped when he heard Oba Femi's music because the law of the land is everyone must freeze. It's like musical chairs anytime you hear music, except it's the opposite of musical chairs because you stop when you hear the music or the music turns off. But nonetheless, I think the analogy still works. Anyway, Oba Femi comes out and he stares at Breaker. Theory ran towards Oba, who dropped him with a kick, and then fans were chanting. And Oba comes in, but immediately everybody jumps in, the producers, the referees, and there was a separation between Oba and Breaker as they smile, and Oba stared at Breaker, and that was it. So, yeah, we're continuing to get this. I didn't think they would jump to this right away. I don't need Oba Femi Braun Breaker right now. If that's where they're going, we don't need to just have every fantasy matchup right now. This is something for me that I could have waited another year if they wanted to properly build it, especially more for Breaker too, who has been on the downslide as of late. Really, ever since he lost to Punk on the opening Raw of the year for the World Championship. Then he gets injured, of course, a very untimely injury. And he goes away, comes back, doesn't do a whole bunch of important things, and then now he's with Oba Femi. So Breaker hasn't had that real sustained, momentous run yet, and it feels a little premature to put him with Oba Femi. I get where they're going. They're two beasts. I understand. Oba Femi just faced Brock Lesnar in 3 straight matches, beat him 2 out of 3. Including the last match for Brock Lesnar ever. I wouldn't say he retired Brock Lesnar, but he beat Brock in his retirement match. WWE would like to make you forget the distinction there, just like with Gunther's claim to fame there. But nonetheless, I understand the excitement for it. I just hope, and it doesn't seem like I'm going to get my wish, but we're going there too soon. We're going there too soon. Give us a year, or even just get to next year. And I don't know if it just seems like this is too soon. Anyway, made my point. So we have then backstage, Kathy Kelly interview AAA GM Rey Mysterio. He's wearing a Wrestling is Real t-shirt. I don't like it. I mean, anyway, we have Rey say that Penta and Laredo Kid they had a banger of a match, and he said Roman Reigns will have his hands full when he defends the title in Mexico. Dragon Lee entered the picture, thanked Rey for giving him a spot, and Rey told Dom that he earned it. And AAA Mega Champion Dom showed up and took issue with Rey not giving him a spot in the tournament. Rey said he didn't know Dom wanted another handout and said that's what made Dom a jackass in the first place. And Dom asked why Rey handed his spot to a jackass, and Lee said he was going to talk to Adam Pearce and he'd see Dom in the ring. And so, yeah, we get that a little bit later. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about Rey Mysterio being... He's not a great GM, I have to say. I mean, it's a little bit early to assess that. But anyway, let's move on. I don't want to get too much into AAA. This is not a AAA show. And we have Stephanie Vaquer say she beat up Raquel Rodriguez 1,000 times and can do it again, and said that Roxanne Perez is a dead woman. And Vaquer said she knows women's champion Liv Morgan is scared. And she said she said that she should be, because they both know Morgan has something that belongs to her. Becky Lynch comes out and said Vaquer seems to be gone as often as she's there. I mean, that's interesting for Becky to say she's been gone doing the same thing. Anyway, Lynch said that she can't tell if Vaquer is a badass who rushed back before she was ready, or if her body gives up so her mind doesn't have to. And Lynch said she would cheer on Vaquer and eat popcorn while she gets revenge on Morgan. And Lynch said the title doesn't belong to Vaquer. Okay. Anyway, Liv Morgan attacks Lynch from behind. She was able to retaliate. And then Vaquer gets back in the ring, and there's some more tension between Lynch and Vaquer. So nobody's thrown a punch yet with Vaquer and Becky, because they're both after the same thing. But I think this is inevitably going to be a 3-way. We know that. And Vaquer she does grab your attention. She does do that. She has that draw, even with her slight limitations on her communication with the audience because of her accent, and she doesn't have really a full comprehension of the English language because obviously her first language is Spanish. She's still able to effectively enough communicate with the audience so we can understand what she's getting at. And I would prefer that she speak English instead of Spanish, because I mean, it's just, this is the audience that you're primarily targeting. This is your core audience that speaks English. Most of us aren't bilingual. Most of us don't want to hear you speak in Spanish. Just fucking speak in English. All right. Just if you're trying to sell us on something and you're coming into my home as an American product, which WWE at its core is, and yeah, I know they're going worldwide, but their core audience still belongs primarily in North America. Speak English. I don't know. This is just a general rule for everyone that has a different first language. Yeah, I know that with IYO SKY and Asuka, same issue there. Shinsuke Nakamura. You got to communicate with your audience, period. It's racist. No, it's just a fact. I don't care if people say it's just no. English is an official language of the United States, whether people like it or not. I don't care if you don't like it. It's just true. And if you're going to communicate with an audience that's in a country that is the primary driver of your product, you have to speak their language. So that all to say, I did like that she's you can understand her, and she's got a nice gravitas to her, yet she hasn't really been around for long. So I like what Stephanie Vaquer has got to bring to the table. She has that it factor for sure. And Becky Lynch is trying to reinvent herself to the best as she can. And she's got some new music, which is fine. It's kind of the same old babyface Becky Lynch, which is not a bad place to be. I just feel like we've seen everything there is to see from Becky. I'm not hoping she, just goes away and she doesn't. She's fired from the company. No, I feel like there's not really much left for her to do. She's main evented everything there is to main event. She's won every title there is to win, nearly. And Becky Lynch in the main event or as champion doesn't really excite anybody. It's almost as if the business kind of passed her by. And I appreciate all of her contributions and everything she did with Ronda Rousey. It was probably the most memorable part of her career. And it was not all of it, but a lot of it was good. And it just feels like, okay, Beck, we got it. The four horsewomen feels kind of like the business passed them by. Getting close. It's getting close. I'm ready for the new generation. Anyway, that last 5 minutes shouldn't piss anybody off. All right. So we have then Cole congratulate Bianca Belair and Montez Ford on the birth of their son, Romeo. So, yes, congratulations. I'm happy for them. Their lives are now vastly different, as any parent will attest. Kathy Kelly then interviews LA Knight, and he recalled Roman telling him to get to the back of the line. Knight said there's a tournament for a shot at Reigns, and he intends to win it. And Kelly pointed out that it's a tournament for luchadors, and Knight said, how convenient. Yes. So, yes, it's a luchador tournament. Sorry, Knight. All right, Solo comes in, and Kelly makes her exit, and Solo recalled the Bloodline attacking Royce Keys last week, and Solo said the same thing was going to happen to him, and then Knight would be next. Knight said they teamed for one night only at SummerSlam, and Solo said Knight doesn't get it. He said it's not Knight versus Reigns, it's Knight versus the entire Bloodline. Solo said he knows Knight doesn't need his help, but at least he can say he warned him. We then get the AAA Mega Champion Dominik Mysterio taking on Dragon Lee in a non-title match. For 10.5 minutes, the match goes, and we have Dragon Lee win after hitting Operation Dragon. And that was it. Dragon Lee ends up getting the victory. And afterwards, though, is really what we're talking about here. Big Cass comes to the ring, drops Dragon Lee. He picks up Lee, bear hugs him. Javon Evans runs out, and Big Cass attacks him from what happened last week, and obviously just defending himself. And Evans got a couple of kicks in, and he went for the OG cutter, and that's when Cass just clotheslined him out of the air, and that was it. I have no issue with this. I see so many people, even bigger podcast names, talking about how they're not doing anything with Big Cass. He's just staring into the camera. Yeah. First of all, I'll continue to say this, and it's because it's just so impressive. Big Cass looks awesome. The transformation of his body, it's just... anybody that's just gone through any kind of weight loss can attest to this. To see what Big Cass was to what he is now, it's commendable. the amount of hard work it would take to get from where he was to where he is now, it's a lot. So kudos to him. But I also, beyond the body transformation, which is making him look like a monster, the body language is effective. When he looks into the camera, he's got that psycho look into him that looks authentic. I like it. That's a way to communicate with your audience. You don't have to say words. That said, I also acknowledge he can't do this forever. He's going to have to, use words. And I think that he will soon. He can't continue to just stare into the camera blankly, like no one's home. I get it. So I think that first promo is coming. But for the time being, for the short time he's been back, since August 3rd, it's only been a couple weeks. Relax. It's effective. People are reacting. He looks like a monster. I like it. Okay. We then have let's see. Sorry. There was a backstage segment with Sol Ruca with Byron Saxton. I don't really care. Because there wasn't anything that came from it. Danhausen shows up, though, and he offers to be the tag team partner of Rucahausen, and he said he'd do it for a big discount. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Enough of that. Cole hyped the 40th annual Royal Rumble being held in Glendale, Arizona. And that was at the State Farm Stadium. And we get the fourth match of the night, which is Sol Ruca and IYO SKY taking on Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. The match went 11 and a half minutes with Sol and IYO winning after she hit her soul snatch and got the victory. I don't dislike the soul snatching maneuver, but goddamn, it's so vulnerable to error that if you don't hit it perfectly, it looks like shit. Again, I appreciate the move. It's cool. It's unique. Anybody can take it, but if you don't hit it perfectly, either you're going to get hurt or it'll look like shit, or both. And in this case, it looked fine. But I have an issue with any kind of finish that requires so little room for error. On a side note, and this may ruin a lot of finishes for you guys, but I'm a big fan of just observation and relaying things to you that I find important. The 3 count, when you know a match is coming to a finish, there's a couple things that are key errors on WWE's part that can be fixed immediately. You don't need to hold meetings. You don't need to have an advisory council. You don't need to come together and have a team meeting about it. There are just 2 things you can implement immediately to hype up the excitement for the finish of a match where it's not so goddamn predictable when a match is about to be over. Now, it's not even the constant kickouts of finishes, which is happening all over the place all the time, and that's its own separate issue. But when a match is coming to an end and a 3 count is about to happen, 2 things happen. Almost always. This is almost always the case. Number 1, the announcers go into this closing line phrase. Like instead of saying Michael Cole calling 1, 2, and kick out, it's like a line that he says right over the 3 count. It's in the middle of his phrase that since he knows it's the finish, he has to say whatever he was going to say when the match ends immediately. For example, and I don't know if this happened in this match. I can't remember. But Sol Ruca hits her finish. And right as the 1 count goes down, Michael Cole starts to say, and Sol Ruca, in a dominant performance here tonight, he'll go into the line before the 3 count is over. Does that make sense? He's like in the middle of his closing line. Instead of taking those few seconds to really make you wonder if the match is actually over. Does that make sense? I hope I explained that to the best that I could. Now, the second one, which is even worse to me, is when a referee starts the count before the shoulders are on the mat and the opponent has properly covered their opponent. And it's a little bit quicker of a count. So, again, in this example, if Sol Ruca hit her finish on Roxanne Perez, this is the end of the match, right? Say this is. And the referee knows it's the finish. Michael Cole does his line or whatever he's doing in the middle of his closing phrase that he wants to say, not knowing that it's spoiling those few seconds of undetermination that the match name may not be over, like the kind of those tepid moments. The referee, will then, since he knows it's the finish, he'll go down and without even making sure the shoulders are down, he'll just start to go 1, 2, 3. Like there's this kind of sped up motion to when the 3 count is happening. Because you know that the finish is about to happen. I've noticed this forever. I hate it. I want to feel more uncertain about when the matches are coming to an end. Those two are nearly 100% consistent, nearly, with every single time that a finish is happening in the moment. So sorry if I ruin it, but there you go. And some of you are probably like, what the hell is he talking about? Maybe none of you even noticed it. Maybe some have. But it's there, and it's super annoying. And they can fix it immediately. Hey, Michael Cole, shut the fuck up. Wait until the 3 count is actually done for you to say your special line to get over whoever's winning or losing, and make us wonder for those just few seconds. And for referees, for the love of God, slow the count down. You know who the best referee ever was? Earl Hebner. You know why he was? Not just because he was just a great referee in terms of just his presence and the way he looked and carried himself, but his count, his cadence of the count. You may say, this is such small stuff. No, it's really not. The referee's arm decides when the match ends. So if that's the tool you're using, I want it to feel important. I want it to feel like as if those seconds are minutes long. And not actually, I don't need him going in slow motion, but today's 3 count is about 1.5 seconds long. It's about half of actually 3 seconds. And I just want counts slowed down. So small things here to some of you are totally just irrelevant to many of you, but for me, big things. Because I want to be immersed, man. I want to not know that, oh, here we go. Yeah, that's definitely the finish. Or for the love of God, stop saying, hey, she's going to lose her title right here. No, thanks. Nope, now she's not. Now he's not. Oh, they're going to win the title right here. He's down. Yep, okay, never mind. They're not winning. Thanks. It's horrible. Horrible habits. You do this for decades. Michael Cole's been doing this for decades. Even Jim Ross was guilty of it at times. Like, how do you not know that the fans pick up on you're just trying to make them believe and try to sell them on a narrative that they know is not true because you're not going to spoil a finish. We know you're not going to, so you're trying to make us think the opposite thing, even though when you say it, we know, oh, well, no, that's not happening. Just silly habits that announcers have and referees that can be fixed instantly. All right. So we then have Paul Heyman and Bron Breakker backstage, and Bron Breakker was obsessed with trying to make Paul Heyman answer the question of whether he thinks Oba Femi is the future of WWE. And of course, Heyman in his political speak essentially didn't answer the question. All Paul Heyman had to say, by the way, was, yeah, he is the future of the WWE. You know who also is? You. Why does it have to just be one person? Why does the future of the company just fall on the shoulders of one man? Since when? So that was kind of a silly segment in a way where they're trying to create tension between Bron and Paul. And is Paul going to manage Oba? I hope he doesn't. But all Paul had to say, instead of trying to weasel his way out of answering, is just, yeah, he is. And you can be too. End of story. It's not a single position. It's many positions that are available here. So silly kind of for me on that one. And Rey Mysterio and Penta were talking when Chad Gable arrived, and Gable and Penta were cordial, and Gable spoke about the tournament and praised Rey. And he said the following matches were announced for next week's Raw in Buffalo. Rey Fenix taking on El Fiscal. Yeah, none of us know who the fuck that is. I mean, just let's be honest, we don't. Most of us have no idea. And here's another name we don't know. Not Dragon Lee, but Dragon Lee will be taking on El Hijo. Oh my God, I probably said that wrong. Hijo. Oh, good God. I don't know who the fuck these people are. But a bunch of people you don't know from AAA are going to be taking on Dragon Lee and Rey Fenix in their first round matches, and Roman Reigns returns, which of course is the last graphic you want to see if you're in attendance for Raw. It's always the worst. And so cool. I mean, you get some wrestling, you get a big star coming back next week. If you're in Buffalo, then that's a win. And I've also thought about this too before we get to the main event and close out the show. WWE for a long time, not every show, but as a general rule, have been charging A+ pricing for a B- product. And that may be generous. That times it's not a B, it's a C and D. So they want you to pay more than ever, more than anyone in the history of humanity has paid to go to a wrestling event. And yet they're delivering an inferior product. They're not, and that's the biggest reason tickets aren't selling. Like, especially for big events. Because people know that they are not going to get their money's worth. It's not a sustainable business model. You can't just milk the brand of WrestleMania or the brand of SummerSlam anymore. If you deliver a quality product, people will pay a top price. I mean, they will pay for quality. That's shown in not just entertainment, but in the actual goods and services of the rest of the economy. I mean, look at Apple, for example. People will overpay and take out second mortgages to buy the latest iPhone because they know it's a quality product. So even with the economy the way it is, people are still willing to pay for high quality items if they know they're going to deliver. And right now, the fan base, as a general rule, does not have confidence that WWE can deliver a quality product based on the prices they're charging. That's just human nature. It's just the way the economy works. So I wanted to, that was a note I had in my phone that I wanted to bring to your attention. So we have then the main event. Solo Sikoa and Jey Uso, with Jey Uso winning in 12 minutes and 15 seconds after Jey spears Solo, hits him with an Uso splash. Of course, Jimmy got involved. He ate a Samoan spike, but that's what allowed Jey to hit the Uso splash and get the victory. So the way this is being phrased is, even though Jey created the stipulation that you will rejoin the family, the way it was phrased at the end of Raw was that Solo Sikoa will be hand-delivered to Roman Reigns, which does not mean he's going to rejoin the family. It just means they're going to have a confrontation or a conversation. So even though it was billed as Solo has to rejoin the Bloodline, the actual phrasing by the announcers was quite different. That he'll just be delivered to Roman Reigns. He'll hand deliver Solo Sikoa to Roman Reigns. So I would imagine this is the start of a Roman Reigns heel turn, because if Solo and Roman go face to face, people are going to cheer Solo Sikoa because he's kind of the shiny new babyface toy. He's reinvented himself. Solo's been booed for half a decade now, and this new character he has is intriguing. People are on board for it, generally speaking, and I think if you put him face to face with Roman, and if Roman treats him like shit, you're going to have Solo Sikoa easily the babyface in this program if it becomes a program. Now, Roman Reigns has his hands full because he has to face the winner of the tournament on September 14th, and so he can't really focus on Solo if they want to go that road. I really don't know what this is going to lead to. And half the time, as we all said, we don't know who the hell we're supposed to like or not like. Roman half the time is kind of heelish, sometimes not. Jey still has his babyface entrance. People are still yeeting, but then he goes after Solo and people like Solo. It's very bizarre. So a weird time for the WWE. An okay show, a decent show, I thought, tonight or last night for Raw. I don't know if it would really be one that we remember even in a week or two, but I thought it progressed things forward. It just lacks star power. And anytime you don't have star power, you're going to have some upset fans because a lot of times, let's be honest, people buy tickets to see stars. With anything, people buy tickets to see stars. Movies and major sports teams. One last comment. I'm going on just certain things throughout the week that I forget to say on my shows. I just put in my notes, and now that I have the mic in front of me, I can just say them because it's my show. Triple H constantly talking about and making comparisons to other sports. If you notice when he speaks, whether it's to Busted Open, which he did an interview for like 15, 20 minutes on, I forget how many weeks ago, but he's always comparing WWE to like NFL or MLB and how it's like, well, wait a minute. You say we're not a sport. Well, what are you doing comparing WWE to these quote unquote other real sports then? And he is even, I think in 2025, he went on a podcast and said that WWE is not a sport. And I would disagree with that. And the reason is because if you look, I'm pulling it up now. Here is the definition of what a sport is. Are you ready? This is according to Encyclopedia Britannica. You can also go to dictionary.com. It says, a sport is an activity involving physical effort and skill that is governed by a set of rules and played competitively for enjoyment, health, or as a job. Okay, well, that pretty much fits professional wrestling. That's like a lot of words to just describe pro wrestling. It's also a lot of words to describe baseball, football, hockey, soccer. WWE is a sport, definitionally, because it's it requires physical effort. So if you just broke this down, it's an activity involving physical effort. Well, last I checked, yeah, WWE would check that box. It's a skill that is governed by a set of rules. Okay, well, yeah, you need a lot of skill to do what happens in the ring and not kill yourself or your opponent. There are rules there. There's also rules with the referee. There's rules on disqualification. Now, these rules can be modified and tweaked and warped based on whatever storyline's going on. We know that. And here's the last one. Played competitively for enjoyment, health, or as a job. Well, the enjoyment part of it is, I think, a pretty surefire box that we can check there, Because you may say, well, play competitively. They don't play competitively. Yeah, they do. Are they not competing for championships? And you may say, well, that's not actually competitive. They're not really competing for the championships. Well, no, they are. You know why? Because everybody there, even though the outcomes are predetermined, everyone there is truly competitive to get that spot, so the company will put them in a position to win a championship. And if they're not there for a championship, obviously, as we all know, they should get the fuck out. They're in the wrong business. So no, it's competitive, whether you look at it in the sense of storyline competitiveness, that baby faces and heels are trying to win championships, or you even look at it as take the storyline stuff away and just worry about the human element. Take just the people involved in this world of pro wrestling are truly competitive. They are trying to get to the top of the mountain. So it's competitive no matter which lens you look at it through. So this is really, this fits pro wrestling to a T. This definition was almost created to describe pro wrestling. But of course, you'll hear from the people like even Triple H himself or the people at ESPN. WWE is not a real sport. Okay, define sport. Define sport to me. I would love to hear your definition, because you can't just make one up. It exists already. The word sport and its meaning already exist. So, all right. Fun facts for you tonight. I'll leave it there. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can follow us on X at wrestling_audio. And I'll be back in a couple of days. And we'll also do the mailbag, of course. I may do it a day early this week. I have some plans on Friday, I believe. So I will try. I might do it early on. If I don't get to it, I'll try to do it as early as I can on Friday, because I might have plans in the afternoon and the evening. So everybody take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.